Welcome to Reread. Today I'm going to go over two stories here. The first one is from Marvel Star Wars. It's their first annual. Basically, Katya, who is a friend of Han Solo's, gets killed by a Force smoke demon. It devours her soul. How did I forget there was a smoke demon, a Force smoke demon in Star Wars? That was my first question. Then after that, after being attacked by the Empire, Luke and Leia used the Falcon's escape pods to land on a planet. They didn't crash on the planet Skytri. And Cars, who sent the smoke demon, basically battles Luke Skywalker with lightsabers. This is the adventure that Skywalkers by Abel G. Pena was basically setting up and explaining. Because he said, okay, they wrote this story. I want to write an origin to the Star Wars annual. Remember, these guys who wrote the stories, they were big fans of these comic books. So this is the original, story about what happened when Obi-Wan brought, Luke finds out the old story that Obi-Wan brought two apprentices. Now, what they meant was Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, because back then they thought, just like everyone else did watching A New Hope, that that's what Obi-Wan was implying. He had two apprentices, which it really was. But George changes his mind. How do you explain how one Jedi Knight during the Clone Wars has two Padawans? And of course, Abel G. Pena makes up some really silly, but I'll accept it, excuse to why that was the case, and who Kars is, and why she hates Skywalker. Like I said, if you're reading this in chronological order, this is one of the examples here where it actually benefits you to read Skywalkers before, because later on as you're reading this, you're like, oh, so that happens. Interesting. Marvel Star Wars, I find, had a lot of little plots that were just never explained. I forgot to mention this earlier, but in one issue, I want to say it's Marvel 35, I can't remember, but Leia has a bandage around her leg, and Han goes, "Are you feeling better, Princess?" She went, "Yes, I can walk now. After our last adventure, that was such a close one." And then a little editor's note at the bottom of the column says, "A story yet to be explored." You just kind of randomly put a bandage around Leia's leg and said, we'll pick that up later. And sometimes they didn't, like Baron Tagg being blinded by Darth Vader's lightsaber. Archie Goodwin said, hey, a story that we have yet to explore. He never did explore it. The Star Wars web strip did, like 20 years later. It's really cool stuff. I love all the continuity in Star Wars, but that's just kind of crazy that they would imply that certain adventures already happened, that haven't been told yet. Thank goodness for Abel G. Pena, we'd have been lost. Now, you wouldn't have been lost on this story. I think the winged alien creatures are really cool. I think they really are. And visually, it's a fun comic book to read. The next one I want to talk about is one that I didn't see on the timeline that I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put it after Star Wars 34. I know I'm kind of pushing a lot of stories in between this point, but I just don't know where else to put these right now. And since that's kind of the hinging point between two different stories happen, because Vader knows that Luke is Skywalker after this. So I'm just going to put this before that. But it's called Watch Out for the Wookie. This is a Hasbro little book exclusive that came with their Millennium Falcon like play school like toy, just to kind of basically Han and Chewie are on the run from the stormtroopers. They hop in the Millennium Falcon, and isn't the Millennium Falcon cool? It talks about all the features of the Millennium Falcon because it's the toy you bought. It's the book which the toy is featured features the toy that you're buying, and they go on this green planet, which is Kashyyyk, I'm guessing, and the stormtroopers surround Han and Chewie, but don't worry, Chewie lets out a yell, and hey, the Wookiees save the day, because all these Wookiees come out of the trees and take out the Imperial garrison, and all the characters in the artwork look like the little toys that you would buy from Hasbro. I have no problem with this. It's a short story that Chris Nelson showed me a few years back when I was doing my initial review. I knew nothing about this, and technically, yes, it does count as expanded universe material, and I was super happy not to have to buy the toy just to get this book. I found the book for like $3. The toy was like $50. I was like, I'm not paying for the toy. I didn't want that toy. But that I got the book is really cool. Do you need to have this? No, this is kind of just a generic throwaway story, but I do think it's cool whenever they make a short story. I mean, they haven't done this. No one had done this since Kenner and the Imperial Troop Transport, which I thought, again, was kind of stupid but kind of cool, right? You have a story about the toy you just bought. Makes you a little bit happier, I guess. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.